Hello, once again, everybody, and welcome to A Cup of UK Heritage. This is the fifth episode. I am your host, Brent Files, and I have brought with me our expert on British wrestling. His name is Glenn Abbott at Gia Wrestling. If you are on the Twitter, give him a follow. Glenn, how you doing?
Good afternoon, grapple fans. I'm doing very well, thank you.
That must be another British thing that I don't understand.
You know, Rob said about Kent Walton, and you said, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Basically, the British answer to any of the great American commentators you can think of.
So he's the British equivalent to say like a Gordon Soley or Jim Ross or
exactly. He was the voice of Saturday afternoon wrestling on the World of Sport.
That's good. I'm trying to think like who. So let's see who used to do the old World Class Championship Wrestling. Was it I can't think of his fucking name right now. The guy who used to call it Bill Mercer, maybe. No, it was a younger guy. Mercer used to do like interviews and shit, but it was like.
Let's have a look. Broadcast.
Fuck, I can't remember.
WCW.
Leo McGurk used to do commentary for Mid South, and I'm pretty sure he was like fucking blind. He's doing color, and he can't see.
You listen to some of those commentators from the territories, and I understand that the recording quality wasn't very good at the time. But yeah, quite a few of them that like they could have the use of a seeing eye dog.
Yeah, or something. I mean, they were still doing better than Vince McMahon at calling holds. And then from there, I know
what a maneuver.
Raw from '97, as we do, War Attitude, and even McMahon like just cutting from one segment to another, and he was like, "So we're gonna have Vader versus Mankind," and then from there, I was like, "Jesus, he even does it when he's not calling matches."
I love it when he sort of hands over to JR or whoever's there if it gets a bit technical.
He's like, I don't know, there's too much going on here, pal. JR, it's your turn.
I know it's Fritz von Erich.
It was like,
who was the commentators?
I can picture his fucking face. I just can't think of the name. The Rants, maybe?
I'm a CCW person. That's what I want.
I don't know.
Ring announcer Gene Summers. Lawrence it was Lawrence.
All right. What Mark Lawrence, right?
Mark Lawrence.
Yes. Now I remember, Glenn. I knew it the whole time. I knew it the whole time. Anyway, Glenn, we're not here to talk about the territories or color commentators or anything of that nature. We are here to talk some Heritage Cup rules matches, and our first matchup is another one of those that doesn't have anything to do with the cup. It was just sort of a challenge matchup as Noam Dar took on Nathan Frazier. What were they calling Nathan Frazier in NXT UK before they started calling him Nathan Frazier? Because he had a different name, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. When they said it on commentary, I could not think of what it was.
Ben something, maybe?
Oh, cool. Was it Ben Carter, was it?
Ben Carter, that is it. It's Ben Carter. Yeah. Yes, that's what it is. Because if that isn't a generic jobber name, I've never heard Ben Carter.
Yeah, and then he became Nathan Fraser. As the rest, as I say, is history.
Yep.
So there's another. When we started doing these, what we didn't realize is that the week before every one of these Heritage Cup matches, we should be watching the Supernova sessions, because every one of these matches gets set up on those shows.
Like especially the last 5 have been set up on the Supernova sessions, which is kind of crazy when you put all that together. But then again, also shouldn't surprise you though, because as people probably know now, the Heritage Cup is synonymous with Noam Dar, so I guess that makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
This was actually a forgotten match because I made an entire list of NXT UK Heritage Cup matches. And Glenn messaged me the other day and said, "Oh, I just watched Noam Dar versus Nathan Frazier, and man, what a match!" And I thought to myself, "Glenn, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I don't have no Noam Dar Nathan Frazier match on my list." But indeed, it did exist, and it was a good match, just as Glenn has told me that it was.
This is an iconic match.
It really is.
In one way, especially, it sort of sets up the rest of the Heritage Cup.
It does. I noticed we're getting really close to that. They have like a number one contender Heritage Cup tournament, which is going to be a lot of fun. I do remember watching all that. I remember loving all the matches in that. So that's been really fun to go back and look at that, which is going to be in a couple of weeks. But this one, of course, the first round is a real feeling out process. The only really thing of note that I had in this round was the end of the round when Dar kind of backs Frazier into the ropes. And then right as the bell sounds, Dar hits a spinning back elbow, then claims he didn't hear the bell, which I'm pretty sure did that exact same thing last weekend.
Yeah, he did. But, he certainly did. That was my first note. Is Noam Dar versus Nathan Frazier. I'm sure we'll see this again in Florida soon.
Yeah, considering that Nathan Frazier kind of played a hand in the match with Dragon Lee, I think you're right. I don't think this will be the last time we see these two taking on each other in a Heritage Cup rules match.
No.
The second round, Dar starts it with a really great takedown to open the match. He used his legs. He dove at the legs of at Frazier's legs with his legs and kind of took him down with a leg takedown, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, but I was quite surprised because I thought I'd remember this match, but it was quite early in the round that Frazier got the first fall.
Yeah, Dar tried to hit that North Shore backslide that he likes to do so much, but Frazier countered it into a small package, and it was 1 minute into the second round where he took a 1-0 lead. So yeah, a real quick, sort of shocking fall to take place there. And, if you thought about this and you look about it, you're like, oh, Dar will probably get the first fall, and then Frazier will, So I was a bit surprised that Frazier took the first fall,
but it's setting something up.
Yes, it definitely is setting something up.
Because Noam Dar, during the break between round 2 and 3, is really pissed off with the second, throws his towel at him, tells him to piss off, and then, of course, we get oi oi, and out comes Shah.
Yeah,
sorry?
No, go ahead.
In no uncertain terms, tells the second where to go, picks him up and throws him up the ramp.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. Even when Dar was going to be raiding the other corner guy, he was like, "Give me Shaw! Get out of here! Where's Shaw?" So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So from now on, we've got Shot Samuels in Noam Dar's corner, which is a shame it didn't happen on Sunday.
Just like all things should be right with the universe with Noam Dar with Shaw Samuels in his corner. Hopefully one day, Glenn. Hopefully one day.
Yes, hopefully one day.
Frazier looks to have Dar on the ropes until Shaw Samuel. He looks like he has him down and on the ropes. Dar is kind of, Frazier's taking advantage, and Shaw Samuel shows up to be the corner man. Frazier starts using his speed until Dar kind of takes out of his legs by kicking them out from underneath him while he's on the second rope. And then Frazier did a really cool springboard moonsault into a reverse DDT. That was really, really good. Frazier's just I know they don't use him much on NXT like they should, but man, I don't know if there's a lot of guys that can do the shit in the ring that Nathan Frazier does. He's just really impressive.
And he doesn't make it look over flippy.
Exactly.
He's up there with how Ricochet, when he was in Japan and doing those sort of things with Old Ocean Spray and that sort of choreographed dancing nonsense, that Ricochet tends to use his flippy stuff more in a fighting. And Nathan Frazier's very much of the same sort of ilk. That if he does a dive, it's for a reason. It's not just to look pretty.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think that Ricochet kind of breaks the mold of what you think a flippy guy should be, because he's not.
Yeah.
While he can do all the flippy shit, he usually does stuff like out of nowhere too. Like most guys, it takes them a long time to set up whatever they're gonna do, and Ricochet will just fucking do it, and you'll be like, well, did he just easily maybe? How did he make that look so fucking easy and simple? It's just crazy.
Well, let's face it. Half of them can't even climb a ladder.
Well, half wrestlers can climb ladders. Frazier goes up to the top rope, but he's distracted by Shaw Samuels, and so he kind of just gets caught up on the top rope as the round end, just kind of standing up there looking like a jackass.
Yeah, yeah, was shot by the foot, didn't it?
I don't think he grabbed his foot. I think he was just jawing at him. I don't think he grabbed his foot until the fifth round.
It might be the next round. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
so we're going into
the fourth.
The fourth. And this is where they really started after the last round. Can you hear me? Okay. Oh,
yeah, I can hear you.
It just suddenly went black on me. It was a bit of a surprise the start of this round, because the last two rounds they'd gone hard at one another, but this was more of a submission-based round.
It really was. It kind of felt like you go back to like the first round, yeah.
Yeah, manipulating joints and pulling and tugging at things.
Yeah, then Dar lands some stiff kicks and another spinning back elbow on Frazier. Frazier tries to hit that same springboard reverse DDT that he did, but Dar counters it into a knee bar and gets the tap with about a minute and 50 seconds left in the round to even things up at one. Noam Dar with his knee bar, he kind of hits it from anywhere, and it's really, really cool to see, and I just like the way he does it. So he did it last week too with the Tyler Bate thing, where Bate tried to do that sort of I guess you would call it like a hot shot like a slingshot clothesline or whatever that he does, and he just caught him in the knee bar. So I always think that's really cool.
So we're back into round 5. And this kicks off at 100 mile an hour. They were going so quick and exchanging moves so fast. It was really hard to make notes on it. But even if you don't watch the whole match, watch round 5, because it is a wrestling masterclass.
It really, really is. The next match we're gonna talk about had a couple of rounds that were a wrestling masterclass, but this definitely was. So they really just start the opening start of the match. They were kind of slugging it out, hitting big kicks and punches on each other, and then things really started to pick up. Lots of big moves, lots of near falls in the first minute. Dar eventually throws Frazier onto the apron, and then Josh Samuels kind of grabs his foot while the referee isn't looking. Then Frazier goes for a moonsault drop kick, but Noam Dar manages to duck out of the way. He then hits the Nova Roller for the 1-2-3 and the win. And you are starting to learn now why we say this is foreshadowing a lot of stuff in this match, because we're going to see a lot of this same sort of thing with Noam Dar and Shaw Samuels going forward. A really great match, like Glenn said, a real masterclass this 5th round.
Yeah. And yet again, as we keep saying week after week after week, a totally different match for anything we've seen before.
Yep.
It's amazing how these guys do it. It really is. I know they benefited by it not happening every week.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Definitely.
No, and I'm sure part of it was that we thought that it was going on more often than it was, because of the Supernova sessions, and Noam always talking about it the whole time.
Yeah, they made it feel like a really, really important thing. It wasn't just like a secondary title for them. It was actually a big thing, and guys actually made it seem important, and having things like the Supernova sessions talk about it every single week.
Yeah, and Nigel McGuinness puts it over as the history of it and the tradition of it.
Yeah,
every time.
And another thing that they always did really well as NXT is that they would build to something. They would let you know that, say, this match is coming in 2 or 3 weeks, and then they would do a great job of building up to that. And they did that a lot of times with these Heritage Cups matches too, which makes it feel better and bigger.
It was one thing we used to say when we first started watching them on Piece of Business, is that even if somebody lost, there was a story being told.
Yep.
You couldn't actually say anybody was being buried or anything like that, or any of those nasty terms that the Marks use. It is
Right.
always a case of win or lose, there's a story being built. And it's the same with these Heritage Cup matches.
And a lot of these people were built as like they came in as, you know, sort of not jobbers, but they were going to lose every night. And then eventually some of them built up to be bigger stars, which I don't think you see even that a lot of now in NXT. I think they bring guys in and then that guy is immediately hot shotted to be one of the main stars and he doesn't really come in and lose any matches.
Yeah.
I mean, because think about it,
Which we
like
will see.
Ben Carter, who goes to, you know, Nathan Frazier. We had Jack Stars, who was the jobber who ends up being, you know, a pretty big star on the show. You had guys like Danny Jones, who were like nobodies, but by the time they ended NXT, Danny Jones was one of the guys I always loved to see wrestle. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We could sit here and put over NXT UK all day if we wanted
to. As we do quite a lot.
As we do quite a lot. All right, the next one is actually a Heritage Cup Championship match. It is Tyler Bate taking on the Heritage Cup champion, A-Kid. We always say the first rounds are feeling out processes, but I feel like this first round was the most feeling out process round we've seen. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. They were just countering everything the other one did. And it was, again, it's that storytelling of it was a trainer and pupil. Right. So they would know each other that well.
And they also put up on commentary that A-Kid's already defended the Heritage Cup Championship once against Bate, and he won. And they had a singles match before that Bate had won. So this is kind of like their rubber match, if you will. So the commentary on these shows are always really, really good too. It makes you miss Nigel McGuinness and wonder why they didn't just fucking stick him on NXT.
Yes. Oh. Him and Vic Joseph would have been perfect.
They would have been really, really good together. I thought Vic, Nigel, and Beth Phoenix were doing it, I thought they were great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do we know, Glenn? Second round's got some good submissions, some good submission transitions in the second round. A lot of very good technical wrestling. It was kind of sort of a feeling out process to part two. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I love the innovative way the A-Kid got out the head scissors. You see it quite often where somebody basically does a headstand to get out of it, but he did more. He sort of parted his legs as well, just sort of leaned himself out into a standing position, which is really hard to do.
Made it look a little more graceful.
Get
some extra style points if that were a thing. Yeah, so like I said, not a lot to know in the first or second round. But like I said, you got to go back and watch these things because sometimes the technical wrestling and stuff is just so good that there's no way that I could put into words how good it is. And that's actually the first note that I have in the third round is like I don't think that I could put into words how good these two are at mat wrestling and technical wrestling. I just can't do it. I don't know if there's any man out there besides maybe Jim Cornette that could eloquently describe the things that we saw in this matchup.
That's right. Then you say that, and then A-Kid very viciously smashes Tyler in the face twice.
Yeah. Yep.
The technical stuff ain't working, so just punch a man in the face. That'll do it.
And the thing about Tyler Bate is most of the time when you punch him in the face real hard, he just kind of wakes him up because that's what this did. It woke him up because he knocked A-Kid through the ropes and to the floor with an elbow. And then the guys get back in the ring and they start trading punches and kicks, and then eventually both spill out onto the floor again as the third round ends. So things got really physical in the third round.
Yeah, it's unusual to actually see them on the floor that often. And to actually have the round end as a referee, that again is perfect timing. It was because the referee was going 7, 8, ding ding.
Yeah. And it's perfect to do it at 7 or 8 because most people would expect you to do it like at 9. So do it on 7 or 8, I think, is better than waiting until 9. Fourth round, Tyler Bate comes charging out of the corner to start the fourth round, lands a big uppercut to A-Kid chest. A-Kid almost gets the pinfall with a beautiful fisherman's suplex here in the fourth round. What do you got from this round, Glenn?
Well, we get the Tyler Bate airplane spin, but A-Kid counters it into a sleeper guillotine type thing, which is amazing to see.
It was really cool, yeah. It's funny that our notes are almost exactly the same. Like you'll say, like the things you'll say be like the exact same thing I have written in my notes because I said the exact same thing as you. Yes, and then Bate kind of breaks the hold by slamming A-Kid.
Yeah, it's fall away slam. He's got the guy hanging around his neck and manages a fall away slam.
Which is how does one do that? A-Kid then tried to jump off the second rope to Bate, which Bates then hit a huge uppercut to him. Tyler goes for a suplex, but A-Kid counters into another sort of guillotine choke. Tyler eventually breaks this and hits a suplex. He tries to cover the A-Kid, but the referee gets a 1 count in before the round ends. So we're heading to the fifth round with no falls yet.
No falls at all.
It's a hell of a way to go into especially when it's the championships on the line, because you're not going to go into overtime because the tie's going to go to the champion. And so you go and you're looking at this, you're like, you're going to get down to the fifth round with no falls. You're like, well, holy shit, something's got to happen here. You know what I mean?
That's it. And it kicks off with it because Tyler goes for the Tyler driver. And A-Kid, which is, I think they mentioned it on commentary, it's probably the first time the Tyler driver's ever been kicked out of.
Yeah, because I was shocked when he hit the Tyler driver. I just assumed we were going to get the 1, 2, 3, and so when A-Kid kicked out, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Then we get a punch, which is countered by, and I'm sure they only use this hold because Nigel McGuinness loves saying "Uma Plata," and he says it a lot.
He does like to say that word. Yeah. He's good at saying it. I am not.
Until he started saying it, I'd never actually heard of it.
Well, thank God for Nigel.
Yeah.
Bate ends up heading to the top rope, and he goes for like that same move that he used to beat Dave Mastiff last week that me and Glenn didn't know the name of. It's like a corkscrew moonsault or some shit. I don't know what it is. He misses though, and A-Kid then locks in an armbar for about 50 seconds. Bate manages to punch his way out of it, but then A-Kid transitions into the Uma Palata, as you said. But Tyler manages to hold on as we get still no falls as we head to the sixth and final round. So it's either going to be,
and we get another foreshadowing of something here during the break, where looking back on hindsight, it's easy to say, well, this is obvious, but it wasn't at the time, where Tyler Bate made Trent Seven throw away the towel. Said, "Don't you ever throw the towel in on me." And he said, "No, I won't." He made him promise that he wouldn't. We'll see what happens down the line.
Yeah, Glenn. I had forgotten about that, but it is absolutely some beautiful foreshadowing to a match that we are going to review. That might be the best finish to any wrestling match I've ever seen. It was just so beautifully done. We'll talk about that one when we get to it.
Yeah.
Tyler hits that slingshot clothesline. He goes for the Tyler driver, but A-Kid counters with a Hurricane Rana for a 2 count. Bate lands a stiff punch, but then A-Kid lands a super kick. He goes for a pinning combination, but Bate then counters into his own pinning combination. Gets a 3 count pretty quick into the final round of this match. And it being the final round and this being championship on the line, that means Tyler Bate is the winner, and he is now the Heritage Cup champion. What do you think about the finish?
I loved it. They brought it into jeopardy right to the last minute. Again, A-Kid countering the Tyler driver, but Tyler getting the better of him by then countering the counter and rolling him up.
Yeah. And the best thing is it kind of came from out of nowhere. Like you didn't expect that to happen. I didn't see that coming. And that's the best thing about these matches is you don't see it. You never see it coming.
No, you never know what's. I know most of the results of these because we watched them as they happened.
Right.
But it's still going into watching them again and thinking, who wins this one? I knew it was going to be Tyler, but there's always that.
Right.
You enjoy, yeah.
Well, Glenn, that's it for this episode. You got anything you need to plug before we get out of here?
Well, I suppose as he keeps on saying nice things about us, we better give UTT Rob a shout out. Check out the UTT podcast with them, and I'm booking the Tankatory and Gator Golf.
They have granted our permission. They have granted us permission on Tankatory. Has granted us permission to do a Psycho Sid-esque show in the same sort of form that they do that, which we will get to eventually someday.
I think one day once we're finished with the Heritage Cup, we'll
yep, that'll be our new mini-series.
Have a look into the murky past of young Sid.
Up until the point where he breaks his leg. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. The many voices.
I want to watch that.
I just thought of the name of the show right there, Glenn. The many voices of Psycho Sid.
Psycho Sid, yeah. I thought we'd call it. What was it he said the other week?
Oh God, Glenn, I don't know.
I couldn't think of what it was he said. But there's so many things you could take out of any of his absolutely amazing promos and use for a show title that we'll be spoilt for choice when we get to it.
We'll have lots of names for episodes. That's for goddamn sure. But yeah, as always, make sure you check out Sports Wire Radio. Give our buddy Thomas Price a follow on Twitter at Thomas Price 2007. Check him out on Instagram, which is Thomas Price 2020. And of course, give the third member of our podcast team here, the Mayor of Canton, a follow on Twitter at Mayor of Canton, and check out A Meal with the Mayor every Wednesday. He managed to get it up on Wednesday this week, so we're proud of him. Check out a new episode of AWI Per Wide Worldwide. This will be the last episode before we get into our Battle Bowl watch along, so that's fun. And check out the new episode of Warning to Attitude. We are on the road to WrestleMania 13, and as mentioned before, UTT Rob will be joining us to review WrestleMania 13, so that'll be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to talking to Rob. And that's it, Glenn. The only thing left to do is for you to say goodbye.
Goodbye.